A poll was just released by Franklin Pierce University and the Boston Herald, and it is absolutely awesome. So this poll, it shows Bernie Sanders beating Hillary Clinton in New Hampshire. So let's get into the specifics. So the Boston Herald and Franklin Pierce University, they asked 442 likely Democratic Party voters in New Hampshire who would they vote for. 37% of those polled said they would vote for Hillary Clinton, and 44% said they would vote for Bernie Sanders. So Bernie is officially beating Hillary Clinton, according to this poll, by 7 percentage points. And guess what? That is out of the margin of error. The margin of error for this poll was 4.7%, and Bernie's lead is out of that margin of error. Oh my gosh. Understand the importance of this. Bernie will kick butt in the Democratic debates, as strategically turned against him as the debate schedule is. Bernie will utilize those 6 opportunities in those debates to kick butt, and that will certainly turn some heads. And it will strengthen his huge surge of support in this primary. Bernie will continue to travel around the country and get thousands of people to turn out at his campaign events. And not just in liberal strongholds like LA, Seattle, or Portland, where he drew record-breaking crowds, nearly 30,000 in both LA and Portland, but he has been and will continue to do the same in even red states. He drew 5,000 in Louisiana, 8,000 in Dallas, 11,000 in Phoenix. That will turn heads as well. But winning these early states like New Hampshire and Iowa, that will put Bernie Sanders on the freaking map, because that throws that, oh, you know, he's unelectable, he's too far to the left. That throws that ridiculous label right out the window. And the media will be going absolutely crazy over it. Hillary's path to her coronation has now been disrupted, and there's a real fight in the Democratic primary. And whoop-de-doop, there's finally some drama, and the spotlight will turn to Bernie Sanders. And we know that once Bernie's message gets out there, and people see his progressive stances on these issues, voters will flock in droves to Bernie Sanders, and Bernie momentum continues on all the way to the White House. And right now, according to this poll, Bernie has a great chance of winning New Hampshire. Because remember, the New Hampshire primary is on February 9th, 2016. That's about 6 months away from now. Bernie can build on this lead he has over Clinton up in New Hampshire. Then he can continue to work in Iowa. His poll numbers there have over doubled since April when he announced his campaign, to about 27 points behind Clinton. And when you take into account that the Iowa caucuses are 6 months away, that's absolutely within reach for Bernie Sanders. Nationally, he's continuing to surge. He's averaging about 20% of the Democratic vote inside these national polls. That's grown very, very steadily in just a few months. And with the primaries over half a year away, who knows what the heck's going to happen? And we know that the more Bernie gets his message out there, the more people resonate with it and they start to view him more favorably. So we know that the only struggle that he really has is getting his name out there, right? And I think that if Bernie can try his best to take advantage of that ridiculous debate schedule and then just continue to turn heads with the turnout to his events, that will keep Bernie momentum alive and get him closer and closer to Clinton as the election season wears on. And then if he can grab New Hampshire and Iowa, and now it looks like that he can at least grab one, but if he can win both, I think that Bernie's chances of winning go through the roof, because that will grab the attention of millions and millions of people. The socialist senator from Vermont, of all places, rises up to defeat the political machine in 2 key states. Wow, maybe he's not too radical. Wow, I'm actually starting to listen to what he's saying, and I kind of like it. That's how the perspective of these voters are going to change, and that's all positives for Bernie Sanders. Now, some people have responded to this poll, and now they're saying, well, okay, maybe he can win either Iowa or New Hampshire, maybe even both, but he can't do anything beyond those 2 states. They're saying that, you know, he's too small and he's not well funded enough with corporate money for favors, so therefore he can't run a national campaign and get enough votes in other primary states beyond New Hampshire and Iowa. And I think that's absolutely ridiculous. Of course Hillary's going to be out funding him. She's a corporate Democrat. 4 out of her top 6 donors over her political career are too big to fail banks. Of course she's going to outfund the guy who says that if a bank is too big to fail, it's too big to exist. But what you forget is that the more that guy speaks, the more people like him, because he's telling the truth. His only struggle is getting his message out there. That's it. His spouse wasn't president of the United States. Hillary Clinton's was. So of course his name will be of a much lower profile than hers. But see, the more Hillary speaks, the less that people like her. Her favorability rating is plummeting. So is her support in these polls. But Bernie's is going the exact opposite direction. But remember what I just said. His only struggle is getting his message out there. And then you combine how much he'll kick butt in the debates and how much media attention he'll get from both the debates and his rallies. And then if he wins New Hampshire or Iowa, his message certainly gets out there. Because now the national spotlight is on Bernie. And that's all he needs. The momentum that comes from all those three sources, the debates, the rallies, and winning an early state, that will generate all the national attention that Bernie needs. So to say, well, you know, he needs enough money to play ads in all 50 states and to knock to door, yada, yada, yada. Well, yes, that's not insignificant. I believe if Bernie's able to win one of those primary states and, you know, get the attention he'll receive from kicking butt in the debates and continuing to draw those record crowds, that problem of getting the national spotlight and having people in all 50 states turn their heads towards Bernie Sanders, that will take care of itself. But Bernie Sanders supporters, that does not by any means imply that it's not important to volunteer and to knock door to door and to ring the phone and to donate money towards his campaign. Of course it is. But to say that Bernie has to have as large of an infrastructure as the political machine that Hillary Clinton has to have any chance of winning, again, I believe that's ridiculous. Grassroots campaigns can still work in America, as much as dark corporate money has taken over the system. But to run a grassroots campaign, you don't need corrupt donations from greedy interests looking for favors. What you need is a message and a strong, excited, and expanding base of support. And the word spreads from there. And if he can raise just enough money from his base and get just enough people on the ground in these states, which he is on track to do, Bernie is indeed set to run a national campaign because the rest takes care of itself. And if those three things work hand in hand to turn the spotlight of the country onto Bernie Sanders with the debates and the rallies and winning an early state, voters will flock in droves towards Bernie Sanders. And if that happens, he goes from that curmudgeonly old man rambling about income inequality to a progressive hero that's riding a political revolution all the way to the White House.